So our first stop on any normal Ohrid tour, you go to Sveti Naum, which is this really beautiful monastery. Well, this is a church, and then the rest here is a monastery. It was built in the 900s by Sveti Naum, which means Saint Naum of Ohrid. This church was built during the Bulgarian Empire and has been part of the various empires that occupied this land. But basically after, I guess just before the World War II, the Zolg of Albania, here's Albania in the distance here, he gave this land back to the Macedonians as a sign of goodwill. So this is both a holy place for Macedonians, Albanians alike, but especially for Orthodox Catholics, Orthodox Christians as well. Beautiful old representation, amazing stuff on the inside, 1,000-year-old painting still surviving up on the hill here. Absolutely phenomenal. Here at Sveti Naum, there's also peacocks everywhere. They're kind of terrifying, but I kind of like them as well. So up high above now, we can get a little bird's eye view of Lake Ohrid. Here it is. This side, Macedonia, 70% of the lake is Macedonian territory. And then here is Albania. There's a city here in the distance called Pogradec. I saw it on the way towards Korcha when I was driving for that episode. But this is a massive freshwater lake. The cool part is that all of this lake is surrounded by mountains, so you can see snowy mountain peaks almost in all directions. And then here, up here, is the highest point in Macedonia, and there's almost a twin peak over here on the Albanian side. Macedonia certainly isn't known for its robust tourist economy, but this church, this monastery here, is certainly the most probably famous tourist destination besides going to Skopje, and people have been making pilgrimage to it since the 900s, which is honestly ridiculous. I love this kind of place that held a lot of significance in the past, but it still holds a lot of significance to the country today because of the tourist economy and the jobs it provides, the services it provides, and the overall culture that it preserves. Super beautiful up here. One cool thing that I'll note about these churches is that typically on the inside, when you find saints holding up a church, like you see in this picture now, that means that those people typically are the builders of the church, either the financiers or the physical builders or people overlooking the building of the church. So this church was built by Saint Naum. He oversaw the building of this church during the Bulgarian Empire, and his remains apparently are still in this building. So he was sainted from this place. It's his church, and he's still here today. Living history. So now we're back in the city center of Ohrid, and before we show you the city, I want to show you some local food that you can find in this region. I ordered ishkembe, which is tripe soup, and a traditional Macedonian type salad. How will it taste? Only you will know. So our traditional ishkembe is here. This is tripe soup. You guys can see the tripe here. It's typically this kind of like creamy broth, and then the tripe is quite it's not as strong as you would assume. If you've never had tripe, definitely try it. The texture is quite nice. It's kind of similar to animal fat. It's the stomach of the cow. You can see it there. Look at that. And it's really tasty. This comes from because of the Ottomans were here. This is, in Turkey you can find, it's called ishkembe. So basically same name. And here we have a Mashata salad. So obviously just mixed salad. Pretty simple. So how does it taste? The ishkembe soup. You can see here, nice pieces of tripe. It really doesn't taste weird, I promise you. It's like just the essence of meat, kind of like a beef bouillon kind of, and it's really tender. You don't really even taste it. It's a great way to start your day. Let's go see Ohrid. Ohrid is probably the #1 tourist destination here in Macedonia. Super beautiful. Picturesque lake, old cities, old villages, and stunning churches. Ohrid apparently has 365 different churches around the lake, at least on the Macedonian side. That's one church for every day of the year. There are some people who actually try to complete this during the year. I'm kidding, I don't think that's a thing. but it is a beautiful city. There's lots to see. On the way to the castle now, this region is absolutely ridiculously beautiful. This is, the houses are in this kind of like, I call it the Ottoman style with these kind of jutting windows and different levels. Typically the Ottoman houses, they go higher and more out as they go up, and you can see this in the style for sure. Got the beautiful crystal blue lake, and here is you know, another 800-year-old monastery up top on this hill. This land was incredibly important for many different peoples, and this lake provided resources, especially fishing. You can find lots of fishing villages around this lake, and it was a big, you know, connection hub for many different civilizations over many different years. Such a fantastic location. I could not imagine living here. You can find modern Macedonian people and also other people from different places, you know, having summer houses here for sure now. And this is probably one of the more expensive cities that you'll find in Macedonia. Behind me now is the massive Tsar Samuel's fortress. Here it is. That's as much as you're gonna see, because that's as much as I'm gonna see because it's closed. But don't come here on a Monday. Everything's closed on Mondays. That being said, I think it's a really interesting story to be told in connection with this land. So the Tsar Samuel fortress was originally built, you know, like it's at 300 BC by the people who were occupying this land. You get a really nice vantage point from here. You can see the majority of Lake Ohrid, and then there's walls on all of the other sides here. They say this was basically built and basically destroyed or burnt down time and time again by the Serbians, the Bulgarians, the Ottomans, the Turks. Everyone was here. Everyone wanted this. Everyone destroyed it. Everyone built it back, and then the next person came in, destroyed it, and built it back. But the biggest version of it was built by Tsar Samuel, the Bulgarian Empire king, in the 900 ADs. So you get these big walls. Since then, of course, it's been destroyed again, but it was restored in 2000. They made it look like this. But what I do want to say is this is a very interesting story for Ohrid. So I have a kind of a weird thing with this region, and especially Ohrid, because 30% of it is Albania, 70% of it is Macedonia. That being said, just like this fortress keeps people out physically with real borders and real walls, thus too is the lake split in half by, you know, kind of like mythical borders. They don't really exist, but they are there. And the divisions between the Macedonians and the Albanians in many things is very, very, very warlike. Not literally, but, you know, we think our culture's better. We think our food's better. We think our language is better. We think our history is the right history. There's a lot of divisions here, and Ohrid is the prime example of this divisions, where this literal border cuts through something so beautiful and that predates both modern-day Albania and modern-day Macedonia. It's interesting being here in general because you can see this kind of division. Podgorets, which is an Albanian city on the other side of Ohrid, it feels very similar, but at the same time it feels very different because of this kind of arbitrary line we drew between you know, a physical landmark like a lake, and you get these two very different peoples who are very similar in many ways, claiming very different histories, very different stories. So I think if there's anything to learn about Ohrid, it's that we need to overcome these divisions, and we need to move past the fortresses of yesterday and move into a modern society where everyone can enjoy the lake without borders, and that we can all identify as being people from this land, not from this land and that land. Troubling Balkans. Our last spot for the day is the Kaneoh Church. Ohrid is just filled with Byzantine era 1,000-year-old churches, and this one might be the most idyllic for sure. Overlooking Lake Ohrid on the banks of the lake. You have this really hyper majestic view. The water here is so blue and so pure, and the sky is also so blue because of it. It's so clear and phenomenal. You can see mountains all the way over there. You can see snow-capped mountains over here. This is just one of the most idyllic places I think you can go probably anywhere in the world, to be honest. And it's a place that if you come to Macedonia or Albania, you have to visit. I think it's a little bit more epic from the Macedonian side, but you can still catch really nice views from the Albanian side. So guys, I think that's gonna do it from Ohrid. Beautiful ancient churches, beautiful old town and old bazaar, mosques, churches, Byzantine, Serbian, Bulgarian, Macedonian, and everything in between. You have to come here for sure. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. We've got a few more videos coming from Macedonia. I haven't picked my next place. I'm gonna put a poll on YouTube. Maybe you guys can help me pick out where I'm going next. And you know, stay tropical from Ohrid.